call them colleagues, and we know how very lucky we are to have them working at the Academy and supporting all of us. But after tonight, you are now a part of the GMGI community, the Academy family. We had a small reunion last week with some of our Academy graduates, and I think it was a really good sign and indication that once you leave here, you are a part of us forever after. You can come back at any time. If the course may diverge and you want to get back on course, you want to come back for job recommendations, for new ideas, for additional training, or even just to visit. We all love to see you, so please stay in touch. It's an important part for all of us to continue to see you and visit with you and celebrate your amazing achievements. So let's get on with it and celebrate, begin the celebration. I am excited to pass the microphone over to my amazing colleague, Dr. John Doyle, our Education Director.
Thanks, Chris. Welcome everyone. As Chris mentioned, my name is John Doyle. I'm the Education Director at Gloucester Biotechnology Academy. We're here to celebrate a wonderful cohort, first cohort of class of 2023. The Academy was founded 7 years ago as part of GMGI's vision to address critical challenges facing our oceans, human health, and the environment through innovative scientific research and education. This year has been a very busy one at the Academy. Indulge me for a moment on this. Over the past 10 months, we've doubled the enrollment of the Academy from 20 students to 40 students. With the doubling of the enrollment, we've had to double our internship partners. We've added 3 new members to our team, a director of enrollment and partnerships who helped with additional students and internships, trained 2 new teachers. In the industry, there's a dire need in workforce development for individuals who can both teach and do good science at the bench. We initiated a community outreach program that brought biotech to over 1,100 kids in our region, including all the 8th graders at O'Malley Middle School in Gloucester and all of the students who took the life science courses at Rockville High School. We also developed a new partnership with the Boys and Girls Club of Boston, and we're bringing 1-week summer STEM courses to 5 of the 9 clubs in Boston. We're really proud of those achievements. Those are things that we did in addition to training the 40 students that we brought through the Academy this year. To say we've been busy is an understatement. Tonight, however, we're going to focus on our core mission at the Academy, and that's preparing these young adults for the rigors of a career in a professional laboratory environment. For those students who make it to this revered evening, there is one consistent thread that unites all 117 alumni of the program, and that's courage. Indulge me again for a second. Let's put this into perspective, what they did. Imagine for a moment having no background in science other than basically what you get in high school. Then deciding to totally immerse yourself in a field that's on the cutting edge of scientific discovery. Add to that the challenge of learning state-of-the-art equipment, all new laboratory techniques, and the professional development skills that are required to work as an entry-level technician. Just gonna let that sink in for a second. Yeah. It's an incredible challenge. And it takes a lot of courage to be able to step away from what's comfortable in your life to do something like that. When I read that, I don't know that I would want to do that at this point. But here we are, 10 months later. Students just completed a paid internship with some of the most prestigious biotechnology companies in Cambridge, Boston, and here on the North Shore. They were in biotech labs, life science labs, and academic labs. For most people from this region, you know that if you work in that area, that is essentially the crucible of biotech, arguably in the world. And these guys were there. The transformation that they underwent in the 10 months they were with us it's nothing less than remarkable. But they didn't start off that way. When they first entered the academy, we knew they had a ton of potential. And honestly, our biggest challenge was just getting them to realize that. We knew it. Our whole challenge is to get them to see it. So it is in those moments that teaching at the academy carries its greatest reward. To watch a group of young people mature and begin to function together in what makes the academy teaching process so pleasurable. Tonight, we celebrate the individuals who make up the 7th class and their successes over the past 10 months and the commencement of their professional careers. We couldn't be happier that you're here to share this moment with us tonight. Before we proceed, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the time and energy of the people who make the academy possible. So first, our gracious donors, we thank you for your continued commitment and generous support. Cape Ann Museum for the use of this beautiful space tonight. GMGI's Board of Directors for your vision and leadership. The GMGI staff for your tireless effort. Our internship partners for providing our students with unparalleled training. Our student mentors for your continued support and guidance. The instructors in this year's class, Steve Anderson, our lead teacher, Sadie Salazar, our instructor, Madeline Harlan, Kristen Lewis, Melissa Drexler, our teaching assistant and laboratory technicians, Joe Rosa and Neil Glickstein, our volunteer teachers. Your extraordinary efforts and your dedication to the mission of the Academy is the very soul of this program. I reserved this person for last, Laura Shane, our Director of Enrollment and Partnerships. I don't know where you're hiding. It's very awesome. I can't thank you enough for all the hard work that you put in this year, bringing us all the applicants, the new internship partners, our mentors, and all the community outreach programs that we did to reach over 1,100 students. There's no way we would have achieved this success without you, so thank you so much for everything you did. So at this point, I'm going to introduce you to our lead teacher, Steve Anderson, and he is going to introduce you to the class of 2023. Thanks, John. Students, friends, family, honored guests, welcome. You come here tonight to honor 15 brave souls who 10 months ago made a decision to change their direction in life. Some were straight out of high school, a few had some college but felt they were either on the wrong path or couldn't get traction during COVID. Some were still waiting to find their calling, but all of them were united by their readiness to try something different that involved science. It is not an easy thing to do to push the reset button on your life. These 15 brave students deserve a round of applause just for showing. It is my privilege tonight to introduce the class, their highs, their lows, what makes them tick. Every class is different. This one was marked by its creativity and curiosity. We got an indication of this on the first Friday of class, before we even gave them any of the tools of science. For family and friends here tonight, by this point the students have already extracted DNA from strawberries, from whitefish, using common household chemicals. The assignment for Friday is to bring something in from home and extract DNA from that. Most students stick to fruit, but this is a group that thought outside the box. We had a chicken egg, dog saliva, even some sort of aquatic crustacean. I don't know what that was, Alan. But by day 5, we already knew this was going to be a highly creative class, and the creativity never stopped.
There were so many artists in the class. The PowerPoint presentations and lab notebooks were not just scientifically accurate, but things of beauty. We had one student make a loading guide out of plexiglass that allows the user to place a sample perfectly in the agarose gel every time. These are just a few of the ways the private passions of this cohort were enlisted to make the educational experience richer for all. A common complaint of previous classes was that there wasn't enough troubleshooting, but this cohort couldn't say that. Towards the end of semester 1, the fragment analyzer stopped working. They pressed forward using the data from agarose gels. When next generation DNA sequencing, the culmination of the first semester, told us our fish was somehow both cod and haddock, they demanded closure. We turned to PCR and restricted digestion and resolved the uncertainty on the very last day. As a result, the class learned early on that science doesn't always work the first time, but there's always a workaround. Having the maturity to try again, often by a different route, is a life skill no degree program will teach you. In semester 2, this cohort moved into the biomanufacturing lab, the second class to do so. Last year's class worked out the basic curriculum, but the students here tonight still had a number of firsts. They were the first to overlap with the second cohort. This meant half as many staff shoulders to cry on in their second semester, but they learned their life lessons early and hung in there as semester 2 upped the tension. We expected chaos, but they coexisted amiably with twice as many students in the building. They were the first group to learn about CRISPR. Just 3 years ago, this DNA modification technique won the Nobel Prize, and this class successfully reproduced the concept in bacterial cells. We have plans to expand on this in the future, but thank you, class, for proving that our approach works. They were the first class to insert jellyfish and coral genes into mammalian cells and watch them glow red and green under a microscope. They were also the first to grow antibodies in liter scale culture. These are among the most sought after skills in the industry, and you, cohort 1, you mastered them. The semester 2 workflow uses green fluorescent protein from jellyfish as its representative protein. This class embraced the creative plumbing of gravity flow and using homemade gradient makers produced purer protein than previous classes, all without broken glassware. They also got a taste of automated antibody purification. And they now know how to purify all of those $10 billion antibody drugs you see on the nightly news. If you can do cell culture, there's clearly the money to pay you and pay you well. Although they were not the first to use the bioreactors, their competitiveness resulted in significant increases in production over last year. Sorry, Holly, your reign was short-lived. Based on their groundbreaking findings, cohort 2 has increased yields even further. Next year, because they'll have so much more to work with, students will be able to learn through a friendly competition, optimizing purification through multiple rounds of trial and error. This is the perfect example of how science stands on the shoulders of the previous generation. Cohort 2 saw farther because of cohort 1. Class, be proud of your achievements. Although your contributions may seem small at times, your work will benefit GBA and impact all of society in ways yet to be determined. So celebrate the little victories. Even celebrate the almost victories and every failure you learn from, because you or somebody else will use that to see farther. That's how science works, and you're all scientists now. These scientists, these creative and curious individuals, would have discovered gravity if it hadn't already been done. Isaac Newton had just one apple. This class saw coffee and tea plummet off the desks on an almost daily basis. There were more broken mugs than beakers in our glasswares. Cohort 1's message on the board at the end of the first semester was a sunny, "Welcome, cohort 2." At the end of second semester, days since last spill, 2. After Tuesday's donor breakfast, there was a pool of coffee on the floor, and these memories came flooding back. I kid, but after every spill, a remarkable thing happened. The entire class would spring into action, fetching paper towels and mops, brooms and dustpans, working as a team. In the face of spilled lattes and other misfortunes, great and small, they found community. Cohort 1, I hope you carry that community with you forever. In addition, you leave with one other priceless possession: confidence. Techniques may come and go, replaced by something better, Box with blinking lights you feed your sample into may change with the technology. The confidence to walk up to some new piece of equipment, put a sample in and get data out will be with you forever. Sample prep and knowing how to interpret your your results will never go out of style. Class of 2023, think back to 10 months ago. You were unfamiliar with so much of science, things like the metric system and math. You didn't believe us when we said that this would get easier, but look at you now, doing conversions in your head, catching errors in the lab manual, telling the staff there's a better way to do things. You've gone up into internships where you were better prepared than your college-educated peers, and sometimes even your supervisors. You know your worth now. And now that you've been out in the wider world, your community includes connections that know that worth. They've been working on cancer, on immunology, on biomanufacturing technologies. As you look for your next position, these contacts you've made along the way will be resources of a type you haven't had before. You now know people that are changing the world, and you help them test their ideas. Let that sink in a minute. Things that this class has already done may be changing the world, and you did it the Gloucester way. And what is the Gloucester way? It doesn't require a college degree. It values the wisdom that comes from people that work with their hands. Check out the exhibits in the back of this room. No one should be surprised that the first schooner was said to have been built here. But who knew the residents of Gloucester were innovators in stone cutting? A new need sprang up, and the residents of Cape Ann rose to meet the challenge. Later, Clarence Birdseye did pioneering work in frozen food technology here. The common theme is that none of these inventors had a college degree, just a confidence in themselves that has made the world a better place. The confidence that these students have nurtured for the last 10 months will guarantee that the spirit of Gloucester takes hold in the industries of the 21st century. They are the advanced guard that is making the city a vibrant place for science and innovation. So, cohort 1 of the class of 2023, it's been an honor and a privilege to be your teacher. I hope that you will look back on this as the first of many steps in a new and wonderful direction. My final words to you are this: keep going, stay curious, be confident, and continue to make the world a better place. Thank you and congratulations.
At this time, I'd like to introduce Mel Drexler, one of our teaching assistants, who will introduce our Zoom Scholar for the class of 2023.
Hello, everyone. Like John just said, our next speaker is the Sue Millen Scholar for the class of 2023. This award is given to a student based off a combination of their academic achievements and leadership qualities. We would like to thank Chi-Chi Zhu and Robert Millman for their continued support of the Academy. I have the honor of announcing this year's recipient, Mariah Berga. Like many of our students, Mariah joined our program fearful she would fail and never be able to successfully complete our morning nap. As the weeks went by, her confidence grew in the lab and classroom, and she realized her ability to succeed. Mariah became the glue that held our class together. Whether she was the morning taxi to bring her classmates to school or bringing in a chocolate Valentine for every teacher and student, she impacted every member of the Academy. Her leadership began to flourish when we began fermenters in the second semester. Mariah could easily take apart and put together the entire fermenter, as well as lead her table in problem solving that create the most amount of reinforcement protein. Mariah completed her internship at Launchworks in Beverly, Massachusetts. Her internship was Monday to Thursday, and she would often come in on Fridays asking for some more morning math or extra lab work to do. Please join me in welcoming Mariah Berga as Sue Milman Scholar for the class of 2023.
What an honor. Not the best at this. I couldn't even get through a presentation that was 10 minutes. So, before I begin, I would like to thank everyone that has helped me achieve where I am today. A huge thank you to the teachers at the Academy for their constant support, reassurance, patience, and the occasional therapy sessions. Thank you to my boyfriend Ryan for pushing me to apply to the Academy in the first place and being my biggest rock through this all. Thank you for my classmates for creating our Cohort 1 family. Oh, boy. After high school, I was in a dark time in my life. My mother passed away before I could figure out what life actually was. My faith in myself was lost. I had no idea what I wanted to do, but I told myself college wasn't for me. I worked jobs at restaurants and found a love for dog training, but knew I wanted more of a life-changing career. My boyfriend recommended taking a look at GBA, so I scheduled a tour and was at awe and everything around me. I decided to bite the bullet and apply. I actually cried during my interview and thought I blew it. The idea of going back to school and taking the risk to change my career was terrifying, but once I got that email, there was no turning back. I'll admit, during the first couple weeks of our first semester, I was ready to quit. Like many of my classmates, I faced imposter syndrome and believed I wouldn't be able to complete the program. Our fear of failure helped to connect our class as we began to learn to trust and help each other get through the lab work in our notebooks. A group of strangers all trying to change our lives became a family. A group of instructors and staff actually rooted for our success, something I can't remember from my high school years. I finally felt like I was able to take a deep breath after finishing the semester 1 finals around Thanksgiving. John warned us to keep the correct mindset through the holiday break. As that replayed in my head, I felt my confidence grow and began to see successful habits form. I put my all into second semester, stopped procrastinating on my weekly notebooks. I could hear my mom loud and clear yelling at me for last-minute book reports or school projects. We learned career skills such as creating a LinkedIn account and knowing how to professionally interview. I also really began to love second semester because you can physically see your lab work actually working. We could see and smell our bacteria growing and see the fermenters and our pellets glow bright green. I remember being nervous. I would never learn the fermenter parts, as Mel mentioned. I practiced so many times until I could easily tell you every fermenter part and its purpose. It gave me the confidence to know that I was good enough to complete the program. A couple weeks into semester 2, began our interviews for our internships. The whole class began obsessing over emails. I mean, waking up in the middle of the night, refreshing the page obsessed, and waiting to schedule interviews at their companies. I remember being nervous to answer the question, "Tell me about yourself." And I'm so thankful for my mentor, Karen McKay, Mel, and Sadie for letting me practice with them over and over again. Even though I was convinced I would never receive an offer, I finally did and completed my internship at Lunchworks in Beverly, Mass. I was fortunate that I was so well prepared for the academy that I was almost overqualified for my job. I learned leadership and how to ask for more challenging work. It was a valuable learning experience where I gained confidence to continue in the biotech career pathway. I hold many memorable times while at GBA, from our big awkward circle from first day introductions to our holiday party and ended finals with an intense match of Mario Kart. Overall, I would not have been able to complete this program without the teachers and my fellow students. The faith the staff have in their students and the guidance from my mom above held me together and got me through this day. Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan. So our next speaker will be introduced by Sadie Salazar, our instructor for the academy. The student speaker, right?
Good evening, everyone. I have the pleasure of introducing our student speaker, William Mumford. When the Academy staff selects a student representative speaker, we look for someone who has excelled academically, demonstrated their commitment to the Academy's mission, and built strong relationships with their peers. Will has indisputably achieved this during his time at the Academy. He first demonstrated his academic brilliance during the summer of 2021 as a high schooler attending our summer STEM class, Fish Fraud Forensics. His natural talent at the bench and refined focus led him to return to the Academy the following summer as a member of the first cohort of 2023, a feat that is all the more impressive when you consider he moved across the Atlantic to do so at just 19 years old. In addition to Will's excellent lab work and commitment to his biotech education, his delightfully witty sense of humor made him a pleasure to have in class. I'd often find him at the whiteboard with a group of his peers playing hangman, and in classic Will style, going above and beyond with his word selection, playing words like anti-disestablishmentarianism, and several others I will not embarrass myself by attempting to pronounce for you now. Moving across an ocean is daunting, but luckily, Will found a family at the Academy and played an important role in the group as a brother, a leader, and a friend. He will soon complete his 6-month internship at Durham Biome, and I look forward to seeing where his next adventures take him. Please join me in welcoming Will Mumford to the stage.
Thank you, Sadie. I would also like to thank everyone for being here and celebrating the class of 2023's graduation. I'm very honoured to be standing in front of all of you this evening as I share my experiences at the Gloucester Biotech Academy. But I would like to begin with how I found myself here. Back in 2021, as Sadie said, I attended the summer STEM course at GBA, which is incredible to me to believe that that was 2 years ago. The summer STEM program that I attended was where I first met John Doyle, Steve Anderson, and Joe Rosa. And to be very honest with you, I was very hesitant about the program at first. But as the week went on, I became very intrigued and very curious to learn more. Later that year, I found myself entering the final year of high school when my mum told me about the certificate program. Initially, I was again hesitant about moving 3,000 miles away from home straight after high school and starting a career. But as the school year rapidly approached an end, I applied, and I'm very glad that I did, because GBA has unlocked a special place in my heart and will always be in my memory. One of the many things I love about my time here at the Academy was how much of a community was built between classmates and instructors. For me, coming into the Academy, I felt like a complete outsider, which I guess is true, being from England, but it very quickly felt like home. I don't think that my vocabulary is extensive enough to explain just how incredible this program really is, with everything that we have learned from machines to protocols and more maths with Mel in just 7 months is absolutely mind-blowing. Not only did we learn a lot during our time here, but we also became friends and maybe even a small family. I went through some serious personal loss during the Christmas break. However, when I returned to GBA, I found that it really helped me to take my mind off some hard times. Both my friends and the lab work provided a needed and enjoyable chance to forget the recent events. This is partly why GBA has such a special place in my heart. If there is one thing I will be taking away from my time here at the Academy, it will be a sense of belonging. For a while I had been saying I didn't want to follow my parents down the science route, yet here I am having completed an unbelievable biotech program which helped me realise my true passion for science. I was lucky to find a fantastic internship at a brilliant company, and it was also comforting to know that I was not going alone, and that fellow classmate Ariella would also be joining me at Durham Biome. This definitely helped to make it a smoother transition. After graduating, I will be returning to my internship at Durham Biome, and will be continuing to put all my learning into practice in the real world. I would now like to ask if everyone could please stand and join me in saying a massive thank you to all that made this program possible. You guys really have put a lot of effort into a phenomenal program, and I know that everyone in this room is beyond grateful for your incredible support and guidance. Thank you.
Thank you, Will.
Hope that doesn't fall.
Okay, so this next part of the graduation is not featured in your program. Last year, we inaugurated the Joseph J. Rosa GMGI Impact Award. The award is named in honor of Joe Rosa, a volunteer teacher at the Academy who has been with us since the Academy's inception in 2016. It is given annually to the person who best exemplifies dedication to the mission of GMGI and the Academy. It is my absolute honor this evening to present this year's award to John Bell. Along with his wife Jan, John has been a longtime friend and staunch supporter of the Academy and its students. Many of you may know John is the former mayor of the city of Gloucester, but being a Wash-ashore from New Jersey, I had no idea who John Bell was when I first met him. I remember him being introduced to him when I came to GMGI in 2015, and I instantly felt as if I had known him for years. In preparing the presentation of this award, I went around and I asked some people associated with GMGI to share what came to mind when I said the name John Bell. And here's what they told me. Invaluable and trusted advisor. One of our most important connectors and influencers. A sounding board, providing ideas, solving problems, brainstorming. An integral part of GMGI's DNA. We could not have done it without him. John has served for years on GMGI's community advisory and science community committees, dedicating countless hours and fostering countless relationships that have benefited GMGI, including relationships with the mayor's office, local fishermen, the Gloucester Daily Times, Good Morning Gloucester, and the Economic Development and Industrial Corporation. When the first Academy class graduated in May of 2017, John Bell was our keynote speaker. And by the end of that speech, I don't think there was a set of dry eyes in the house. He dubbed that inaugural class the Fabulous 13. When I told John that I liked the codfish lawn signs that he had made for the Fishermen's Wives Association back in 2018, I think he showed up at the Academy with like 45 of them. They were everywhere, and I still find them to this day in closets, drawers, everywhere. When you ask something of John Bell, you can absolutely rest assured that it will get done, and you will get his very best. John, it is my absolute pleasure to present you the 2023 Joseph J. Rosa GMGI Impact Award. Thank Okay. You're welcome. Absolutely. Thank you. At this time, we are honored to welcome this evening's commencement speaker, Dr. Ming Krajitsky, Associate Director of Biotherapeutics at Walden Biosciences, a biotech company located in Cambridge. Ming's journey in biotech began 12 years ago after she graduated from Boston University with a PhD in biophysics. Following her time at BU, Ming worked at several other biotech companies in Massachusetts, creating fusion proteins and bispecific antibodies. At Walden Biosciences, Ming focuses on curing kidney disease, and her work is designing and testing antibodies that can help the kidney regain a healthy state. I first met Ming when she was at Pandion Therapeutics in 2019, where she was working with an Academy alum who was just hired by the company. In 2020, Ming volunteered to take one of our students as an intern, and she proved to be a wonderful teacher. She was the type of internship manager where I sat back in my chair and I said, she gets it. I wish I had 20 Mings to teach our students. Then in 2021, Ming did not sign up to take an intern. And to be honest, I was really nervous. I really hoped that she had not decided to stop being an internship manager. But last year, Ming took 2 of our students as interns, and as always, she did a wonderful job. One of whom is here today, Holly Randazes, hiding in the audience somewhere. She attributes a big part of her professional career to her involvement with Academy students and graduates. And tonight, Ming will share a bit about her journey and her experience with our amazing young researchers. We are honored to have Ming address the class of 2023. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Ming Brzezinski.
Good evening, dear Gloucester Biotechnology Academy class of 2023, ladies and gentlemen. It's my honor to be invited by Dr. John Doyle to be here in front of you on this very special day when we gather to celebrate your achievement and to appreciate GBA educators, partners, sponsors, families, friends, and everyone who supported this program. I am from Wharton Biosciences, a small but ambitious biotech company located in the Kendall Square area of Cambridge, a forever hustle and bustle place that never lacks innovation and motivation. At Wharton, we work on transforming the treatment of kidney diseases, believing our effort one day can liberate patients from lengthy dialysis or transplant waiting lists for a happy reason. Indeed, it is ambitious, maybe even sounds impossible. That's why Wharton has to have a brave and resilient team, which includes your fellow GPA graduates. In fact, they are some of the most brave and resilient researchers I have ever known. In my current company and previous one, I was lucky to be able to welcome multiple GBA interns to my team. On the first day when they came in, I saw excitement and anticipation on their faces. When I sat down with them side by side next to a lab bench, I saw their sturdy hands with good training. When I demonstrated to them lab equipments they had never operated before, and they took diligent notes. I drew a full whiteboard of concepts, which probably took a long time to learn in college, and then I saw them meticulously studying and coming back with questions. I proudly saw them mastering techniques and assays and being able to help colleagues more senior to them. I proudly saw them giving smooth and clear presentations with high impact data, with comments from senior leadership saying, "We may have to send you to that CRO to make their data as good as yours." Sometimes they told me, "Hey, your plan has a mistake." And I embarrassed it, but proudly said, "Yes, you're right." I can trust them to get question tasks done in time, and I can rely on them to manage complicated logistics. Sometimes I saw them holding back their tears when a long day did not turn out as expected. I saw them high-fiving when their error bars were too small to be seen. I heard their suppressed curses when a bubble got caught in their acta, and I had faith that the curses were to the machine, not me. We share the pressure, the relief, the frustration, and joy. We share our own life stories, and I finally understand why you, people who choose and graduated from GBA, are the most brave and resilient researchers I have ever known. Because you are not ordinary, because you believe in transformation. Not everyone is confident to take a research position at such a young age. Not everyone is financially responsible and can take the matter in their own hands to balance education and cost. Not everyone is determined to switch career after years in a totally different field. Yet you step out of your comfort zone, believing you can make a change or a breakthrough. Your bravery made you choose GBA and enter the real research world. Your resilience will drive you to your success. That is why the biotech and pharmaceutical industry needs you, because the dreams we have are ambitious and maybe even sounds impossible. Bringing your bravery and resilience, you will work side by side. We will work side by side to transform patients' lives and our own. Thank you.
Thanks, Wade. At this time, Sadie Salazar and Mel Drexler will present to you the class of 2023.
John Andrew. Will Mumford.
Joseph Siriani.
Mariah Verga. I would like to congratulate two more students. Our first is Margaret Redenbaugh, who couldn't be here tonight, so. And I'd also like to congratulate Zach Dench, who is in the back.
The class of 2023 will, will please stand and turn around to face the audience.
I love this for us.
I love it for you too. So, we would like to thank everyone for sharing this special evening with us. Our graduates are a remarkable example of what your sport has done. I would also like to take a moment to thank our students. When we think about education in school, we often think of teachers as the ones imparting the wisdom and the knowledge. As Steve mentioned, the students continue to teach us how to be better teachers and leaders. I thank you and I'm grateful for all the time that I had with you this year. As we close, I want to reflect on the day that you began the Academy, August 22nd, 2022. The night of graduation seemed like a lifetime away, but as you remember, I told you it's going to go by in the blink of an eye. Here you are. You persisted, and you were wholly different now than the moment you walked through those doors. Keep those initial feelings in mind. Keep an eye out for those like you, those just starting out, those struggling with that same self-doubt, that same imposter syndrome that you have. As an alumnus of the Academy, I ask you to pay your gift forward. Reach down and continue to help others as you climb the ladder of success. Congratulations on all your achievements. We are extremely proud of you, and we hope that you're extremely proud of yourselves. It was a pleasure for Steve, Sadie, Madeline, Mel, Kristen, Laura, Joe, Neil, and I to watch you grow. It certainly takes a village. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and have a safe evening.